G'day legends, so it's finally been announced. Tom Aspinall has got to fight again. Thank the Lord we can get moving with the heavyweight division now that Jon Jones is gone from our lives. He'll be back. I know that he'll be back. But at least Jon Jones is gone from our lives for now, and we can get the heavyweight division moving, and it's going to be Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Grant, and everything's going to be absolutely great. And I thought to celebrate the return of the heavyweight division, today we could celebrate British colonialism. This video probably can't be monetized because YouTube are a bunch of softies, but hey, we're going to be celebrating British colonialism today in MMA YouTube's favorite thing to do, tier list form. We're going to be going through some of the best British fighters of all time, not all of them, but some of the best British UFC fighters that I could think of and come up with. I can already hear all the old heads screaming, what about this guy that fought on UFC 19? He had one fight. Don't worry about that guy, right? The big ones, the main ones, and ranking them for just how great they were at helping the UFC, helping the English fighters in the UFC achieve their dominance. Because let's face it, the heavyweight division is the premier division of the UFC. At least it's meant to be. I know, have you seen the state of it lately? It's truly disgusting. But it's meant to be the big boys, the bad boys. The baddest man on the planet is meant to be the heavyweight champion of the world, and MMA is meant to be the hardest combat sport in the world, ergo, and the UFC is meant to be the best of MMA, ergo, Tom Aspinall should be the greatest fighter on the planet right now walking around. That's meant to be how things are. It doesn't feel that way, but that's how meant to be how things are. So we're going to be celebrating some of the boys that helped put Britain on the map. All over the UFC verse. It's too bad that the British gave up the Indian colony. Because then otherwise India might have gotten a win in the UFC by now. One male win. Sir, are you going to make fun of India every single day, sir? Yes, I am. Until India gets one win in the UFC, this is called tough love. This series of Dougie's Corner videos alone is going to force someone from India to step up and get a goddamn win in the UFC. I'm doing this for your benefit, India. I'm doing this for your benefit. So it's too bad that England let go of India, otherwise they might have gotten a win by now. I mean, Paul Craig can get a win in the UFC, and the English aren't letting go of their grip of Scotland yet, have they? No, they're holding on to Scotland for everything that it's worth. God knows why. What is Scotland worth? It's just a bunch of cows and fields. Great Scotch, though. I mean, great, obviously great Scotch. It's Scottish. I digress. Who are we going to go with first? This is the kind of list we're going to do. We're going to go with Darren Till for What the Hell Happened to Me thing. Have I made Darren Till the background? That's not right. We're going to go with Darren Till first. Oh, Darren Till. I'm going to be the greatest. I can't do British accents. Don't do the British accent thing all the way through this video, Dougie. People are going to turn off. Oh, Darren Till. He was going to be the greatest fighter the world had ever seen. His words, until tall, lanky Darren Till went up in there against the bunda, the thickness that is Tyrone Woodley. People forget, man. Everyone wants to talk about Mackenzie Dern. They forget about what Tyrone Woodley had going on back there. But this has got nothing to do with Tyrone Woodley's ass. This is about the English. Darren Till thought he was going to be one of the greatest fighters to ever touch to ever grace the earth. Turns out he's a bit of a scrub. Turns out he's a bit of a scrub, and he has now been demoted to fighting with Luke Rockhold at Misfits, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to be honest with. I think that's going to be great. What's the best thing that Darren Till's ever done in his combat sporting career? Getting to the point of fighting Tyrone Woodley, even though it was a little bit rushed. I believe he fought Tyrone Woodley on only his fourth or third fight in the UFC. He got pushed, and he got pushed hard. And then after that, very famously, as pointed out by the MMA guru, his ACL kept breaking. And it was becoming very obvious that Darren Till was a fan of the booger sugar, claiming that 80% of the earth was doing cocaine. Now, that just seems to be like every room that Darren Till's going in, there seems to be cocaine around, because I don't think 80% of the men out there are doing cocaine. Darren Till, where do you put it? I would say he is a solid, I mean, he's funny, and he's a very good kickboxer, Muay Thai artist. But in MMA, just competing for a title, that I would say is a solid C tier. Solid C tier. Although, when Dricus du Plessis was beating the living hell out of Darren Till, no one else can hold their thumb up and say, yeah, everything's right, everything's going fine. Don't stop this fight, ref. Everything's going absolutely to plan. Because Darren Till knows how to get the shit kicked out of him and put his thumb up in the air at the same time. And that alone does make you one of the best fighters in the world ever, Darren Till. Oh, me fucking ACL. I can't do... Why can't I do British accents? I can do American. Can't do British. Don't know why. I think an Aussie would be able to do British. Can never get it. Anyway, moving on. Next British fighter up should be Paddy Pimblett. Let's do Paddy Pimblett. Oh, my lord. One of the most curated fighters we might have ever seen. You know, because even Sean O'Malley had to go to war with Petr Yan, who is, just ask anybody in MMA YouTube, is the 9th best fighter of all time. I mean, even Sean O'Malley had to go to war with that level of fighter. Paddy Pimblett has become essentially the UFC's shotgun. You know what I mean? You probably don't know what I mean. Let me explain what I mean. What I mean is, whenever the UFC have got an old dog, like Michael Chandler, or like Tony Ferguson, or like Bobby Green, Dana White and Hunter Campbell go, right, get old Paddy Pimblett off the shelf and take him down to the back of the next fight night card and put a bullet in Tony Ferguson. Time to put a bullet in Michael Chandler. He has become the shotgun of the UFC with the long arm of Dana White and Hunter Campbell. He is just there to put old fighters out of their misery, and now everybody thinks that he deserves a title shot. It's a hell of a thing to witness. It really is. I mean, I can't picture a better curated fighter. Literally ever. I mean, even Umar had to fight Sandhagen. Yuri had to go in there against Dominic Reyes. Who's been more well looked after than Paddy Pimblett? Jeez, he's been looked after. So, you can't, I mean, he hasn't challenged for a title yet. So he's got to be below Darren Till. He can't be above Darren Till. At least Darren Till got to the... But Darren Till, I just said, Darren Till got rushed to the title as well. But see, Darren Till got rushed. He didn't get curated with this, like, fake fan experience. Like, if you believe in Paddy Pimblett, you've sort of been tricked by the UFC to believe in Paddy Pimblett. Because when he was in there against Jared Gordon, he looked horrible. Horrible. And Jared Gordon's sneaky good. Darren Till just got pushed. Paddy Pimblett is like a weed. He's been trimmed. He's like a bonsai tree, not a weed. He's been curated and trimmed to look the way that he does. I don't know where you can't have Paddy Pimblett higher than Darren Till, can you? Darren Till just flat. Is this about who's achieved more or who's done more for the sport? But even Darren Till, you know what? Paddy's going there. Too much time worrying about where Darren Till and Paddy Pimblett belong together. They really don't belong. That's fine. C list is fine. C is fine. You know what? We'll go B. No, leave them, Dougie. Move on. Lerone Murphy, bruh. Lerone Murphy, bruh. Lerone Murphy, bruh. Lerone Murphy. Oh, mate. He's a bloody battler. What else can you say about Lerone Murphy? He's a survivor. He's a battler. I believe he's like 35 or 34. Young up-and-coming prospect. Ready to go in the featherweight division. Next one to get a title shot. He's still like 3 or 4 fights away. But the dude's got no quit in him. Listen, you know Lerone Murphy's story? Yeah? He's been 50-cented. Shot in the face. Lived on. Decided that I'm going to make something of my life. This is what I'm saying. The dude is a goddamn warrior. And I know his last fight, he didn't fight like a warrior, but most of the time, Lerone Murphy's in pretty fun little striking exchanges. Except the last one was a bit skew-if. This is going to be wild, right? But I want to rate Lerone Murphy above Paddy Pimblett. This is what we're going to do. You challenge for a title. You are curated. You are all hard work and hard grit. You are getting given everything because you call people breakfast ingredients. You are grinding your way to the top and you are fighting the clock, as we all are on this earth, I might say. We are all fighting the great clock, ticking away. We're going to die one day. Don't think about that, Dougie. Keep having fun. Make the video. But Lerone Murphy knows he is running out of time because you are not challenging for a title at 37 as a bloody prospect. You have got 4 fights to get it done. No losses allowed. That is playing UFC on hard mode. Paddy Pimblett calls people a sausage. He can lose 1 or 2 fights. He'll still be about 3 or 4 fights away from a title shot, no matter what. If he loses any of his next 4 fights, title aspirations are absolutely over. And someone like Lerone Murphy who battles through everything, it's inspiring, to be honest. Fight style can be boring. Story, mindset, the man that he is, Bloody inspiring. Next one up. Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, great fighter. Amazing fight. The problem with so based on Twitter. Good God. Arnold Allen on Twitter and Instagram. He knows what's going on. He notices. And you know how it is when he notices. They're noticing. I'm surprised he's not in prison. In England, I'm surprised he's not in prison. Although, now that everyone's going to have to age verify and it's become a real prison system online, Arnold Allen's tweeting days are probably over in England. Don't worry, mate. We'll be joining you in a couple of months down here in Australia. And at Dougie's Corner, yapping days will probably be over as well. We're all fighting the clock, boys. But Arnold Allen, I think he's only lost to the best of the best. Movzar, who's undefeated, going to challenge for a title, and Max Holloway. I'm going to stop talking now and quickly check that. Yeah, he's had a loss in one loss in Cage Warriors. Whatever, you're a young learning fighter. You know what I mean? JDM's lost 2 fights early, never lost again. Doesn't matter. But dude, only losing to Max Holloway and Movzar Evloev. And let's face it, that Movzar fight, could have made an argument for Arnold Allen winning that fight. The problem is the activity, and not just the activity, the hands. Now, you would think a sick boxer like Arnold Allen, the problem wouldn't be the hands. But Arnold Allen's hands are made of the same material as whatever Sean O'Malley's bones are made of. Air and paper. The same thing that makes up Arnold Allen's hands and Sean O'Malley's bones is the same thing that makes up Chris Curtis's emotions. It blows away in the wind. He's always breaking his hand. And that way he's always out, because he's always trying to put his bloody hands back together. He must have hated it when the UFC are like, we've got newer, thinner gloves. Arnold must have been like, fuck, it's over. The career's over. Arnold, you are a brilliant boxer, an amazing scrambler, a hell of an MMA fighter. You have to get back in there, brother. You've got to get... I'm going to put you right next to Lerone Murphy, and a little bit higher, because I think you're a little bit of a better fighter than Lerone Murphy. But I want you and Lerone Murphy, while I continue on with the video, to just have a chat and share inspirational stories with each other. That's what I want. And Lerone Murphy's going to G you up and get you back into the UFC. Because I need to see Arnold Allen getting it moving. Next one up, Dan Hardy. What an absolute flog of a bloke. What a flog of a haircut. What a flog of a bloke. Did Dan Hardy ever challenge for a title? Oh, I don't think he did. I started watching when Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo, so I really got to think back now into my MMA history. If you see a cut here, I've Googled it. There we go. I remember now. I definitely didn't Google it. Dan Hardy got his ass beaten by George St. Pierre in 2011. In 2010 at UFC 111. Remember it like it was yesterday. What a fight. Man, GSP really just laid on Dan Hardy the entire time, I believe. I don't remember that fight at all. Anyway, GSP, Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy's, to me, his most iconic moment was during the great era where we were having fights in silence on Fight Island, screaming at Herb Dean and getting himself fired from the UFC. Bloody hilarious. And then the UFC were like, how dare you attack a referee? And everyone was like, Herb Dean was the one that stepped up to Dan Hardy. Herb Dean went over to Dan Hardy, and Dan Hardy was just defending himself. But Dan Hardy has made it his absolute goal in life to get revenge on the UFC by helping the PFL. So, that's going well for Dan. I don't know if you've been keeping up with Dougie's Corner, the channel. You know, we've been following the PFL pretty closely, and they are cooked, mate. They are suing all of their sponsors because their sponsors aren't seeing any money in the return and investment, and the PFL is going to be dead soon. So Dan Hardy, you know, it's going well for him. It's all going well for him. His show's going great. He's had an ego death. No ego here. And I'm sure he is still playing with the sword that he made when he was an ancient Chinese Shaolin monk that put his own samurai sword together, or whatever it was, out of broken pieces of other swords, and trained for 10,000 hours on how to be a Shaolin monk warrior. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Dan Hardy says this story with a straight face. He wants you to believe this, that he has got some weird Jedi backstory where he manufactured a sword out of other pieces of broken sword. He's insane. He's absolutely insane. You're going down in the D tier. Oh, what? But he challenged for a title. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Fix the PFL. Have another ego death. Dan Hardy. Next one. Who are we going to go with next? Oh, should we do the big three? Yeah, we'll get into the big three. All right, who are we going to go with next out of the big three? Let us go with Michael bloody Bisping. The Don himself, the King of England, Michael Bisping. Look at that. 2 eyes. What a beautiful man. What a fucking chat of a bloke Michael Bisping is. I love Bisping. He was one of my early favourite fighters. Still is to this day. Mate, you catch Michael Bisping when the cameras aren't on, when he's not doing commentary. This is the Michael Bisping that I fell in love with. Yeah, the one that would just go around accusing everybody of being on steroids, had one eye, and just bit down on the mouthguard and got the job done. Talk shit, drank beers at the post-fight press conferences, would sit there abusing Luke Rockhold while on the beers. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Now, as for how he is as an MMA fighter, he won a belt. He beat Anderson Silva. He did okay in one round against, not won it, but he did okay in one round against GSP. He laid out Luke Rockhold, which I just love watching. Every single time Luke Rockhold gets beaten up, I just love watching that happen because he is such a self-righteous prick. It's wonderful. Now, he did have his second title defense against, the H-bomb. He really loved throwing a big meaty hook. Dan Henderson. And he kind of lost that fight against Dan Henderson. And Dan Henderson was like 47, legitimately, at the time of the fight. Very old. Which isn't a good look. But still, you gotta love Michael Bisping. Now, he has become a bit of a shill for the UFC. Which, like, whatever. Alright, he's getting good money. Good on him. But you know that deep down inside of him, that old Michael Bisping is still there. Which I love. Because, again, when he thinks the cameras are turned off, that's the Michael Bisping that I remember. He's going in absolute A tier, mate. He has got to be an A tier level British fighter. Man, he'd still be out there colonizing today. If it was allowed, Bisping would still be out there colonizing today if it wasn't so frowned upon. Moving on next. Speaking of, Jesus Christ, good timing, Dougie. Not speaking. Anyway, Leon Edwards, mate. Leon Edwards. Lerone Murphy, mate. Leon Edwards, mate. Leon Edwards. He grew up in a zinc roof, bruh. Supports Jamaica, as well as England. That's alright. I support Serbia, as much as Australia. All good. His mum's giving him a kiss before he's going to the octagon. He forgot to wipe it off before this photo got done, but that's alright. What are you trying to pretend that women just throwing themselves at you, Leon Edwards? What are you... I mean, I guess you do have the most aesthetic physique, but this isn't the most... I mean, but the personality. It's not all about Leon. Anyway, doesn't matter. Won a belt. Went on a great undefeated stretch. I think it was 11 in a row. Or 10 in a row. Something like that. I always get him and Bilal's confused, and I don't care to Google it, so there's not going to be a cut here. But he went on a great undefeated stretch. However, he's very boring. God almighty is he boring. Boring personality. Boring fights to watch. They're a real chess match. Oh, he's one of my... I got someone in the chat who loves watching Leon Edwards fight because he loves the beauty of the craft. I'm not that kind of MMA fan. I'm the kind of like, you know the old school MMA fan that used to whip his shirt off and it had just bleed all over his chest? That's the kind of MMA fan that I am. I like violence. And Leon Edwards, I keep wanting to say Lerone Murphy. Leon Edwards is the opposite of what violence epitomizes. But he's got the headshot dead, bro. Bro, headshot dead. I grew up in a zinc roof, bro. Look at me now. Look at me now. Like, he aura farmed that to death. Dude, one head kick carried him for like 2 years. Every single time I'd log into UFC 5, the head kick was there on the Quick Fights online battle. If you know, you know. But still, won a belt, defended the belt against Colby Covington. Fake defense. What's worse? Going to war with a 47-year-old Dan Henderson? Going to war with a 47-year-old Dan Henderson? Or getting a fake title defense against Colby Covington? Which one's worse? And then losing to the GOAT, and then losing to Bilal. You kind of have to put Leon above Bisping, but for just the pure Chad levels, Bisping goes a level above Leon Edwards. It just is the way that it is, mate. I'm sorry. It is the way that it is. Bisping just chads himself, because that was Bisping's entire career. Just chatting his way to the fucking top. Just alcohol and pure rage. Getting himself to the top. And I like that more, and it's my tier list, so these are the rules that I'm coming up with. Bisping goes above Leon Edwards. Right. And then, of course, the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen without steroids, Tom Aspinall. Has Tom Aspinall won a whole belt yet? Technically not, right? He's won an interim title and he's defended an interim title. But much like how the UFC like to make things up as they go along, so will I. These are now, in my headcanon, 2 full titles. That doesn't mean Dustin's become 2 full title. Dustin's becomes a full title. Colby's becomes a full title. No, they're interim. Whatever the fuck John Jones was doing in the heavyweight division between 2021 to 2025, quite frankly, needs to be fucking deleted from the history books of the UFC. It needs to be scrapped. On God, on Christ, on Lord, on everything. Tom Aspinall is a 2-time defending UFC heavyweight fucking champion that has beaten the living shit out of most of the top 10 in the heavyweight division. Doesn't count for much. It's like, you know, how everyone doesn't count much of Mighty Mouse's legacy because of who he was in there against. But still, Tommy Aspinall is the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen without steroids infused into him. And God help us if we ever get steroids into this guy. The moment that this guy is out of the UFC, out of USADA, and he starts getting on TRT, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. The moment that he does that, this whole scene on the background will be back. And it's straight to India. We're off to get him a win. Sorry. Right, I don't know why that keeps slipping out. All right, Tom Aspinall, absolute S tier, without a doubt. Tommy Aspinall is the greatest fighting force ever. Maybe too much glaze. God, if he loses to Cyril Gane, we're cooked, boys. We're all cooked. And he is the S tier, and you would think that this is the end of the tier list, but no, I got one more sneaky one for everybody. Just a bit of a shout out, Lee Murray. How do you do a list? How do you do a list of great British MMA UFC fighters without Lee Murray? Yeah, listen, Lee Murray is a fucking psycho. He's a fucking psycho in prison currently for robbing a bank of many millions of dollars and getting into many street fights and stabbings. Pretty sure he stabbed Tito Ortiz. Or did he get into a street fight with Tito Ortiz and ended up getting stabbed? Or was the stabbing completely different? Either way, Lee Murray's a fucking lunatic. He's a fucking lunatic. And I'm scared that if I make this list without mentioning Lee Murray, he'll somehow break out of prison, come and find me, and stab the fuck out of me too. Lee Murray's an insane person, so he's got to go on the list. I'll keep him well away from Lerone Murphy because Lerone Murphy will be very iffy around Lee Murray. They're trying to G each other up to make a better future for themselves. Lerone Murphy doesn't want any of that. We'll put him down here with Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy and Lee Murray, they're about the same level in my books. There we go. This is my tier list of some of the best British fighters of all time in the UFC, and it's as many as I could remember. I'm sure there's way more. There's definitely way more, but this seems pretty good. This'll do. What about Orban Elliott? He's Welsh. Doesn't count, does it? Are these guys all British? They're all British. Orban Elliott's Welsh, so he's not on the list. Paul Craig, he's Scottish, not on the list. See how this all worked out? Great. Excellent. If this is your first time here, g'day and welcome. My name is Dougie, and I make an MMA video every single day of the week, and I try and go live as often as I can. It's usually every single day. You want to know when a new video drops, and you want to know when I go live, hit the subscription button down there, hit the notification bell, set the notifications to all, and you'll know when I go live. Let me know what you think about the tier list in the comments. That'd be great. If you like the video, give it a like. That helps push it out in the algorithm, which helps the channel grow, which helps me dedicate more time to the channel. You see, it all works together. And if you're one of the riders, if you're one of the bloody legends of the channel, thank you so much. I love all of you guys. You buy your own memberships, you like, you comment, you're in the live streams, you're hanging out in the channel, you're interacting with the channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Your names are up on the next slide. Till then, you have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.